Wanted to share another great solution to our current problem right now that we're all at home and we're not at school and we do not know yet if and when our kids are going to go back to school, whether or not they're going to receive specialized instruction, those with IEPs. Okay. And like I've said in the beginning, when I knew that this was going to come down, um, as far as schools being closed for longer than a week, then I started reaching out to some professionals that we rely upon in the Gemiini group when we resolve cases. One of those is Gemini. We love Gemini. We love to use Gemini. I use it with my own daughter. It's Gemini Systems. It is completely web-based. It's discrete video modeling for children with developmental disabilities, mainly, primarily. So those children that are moderately to severely impacted, I have a child like this as well. And Gemini has been a wonderful resource for her. I had the privilege of meeting Laura Kasbar, the creator, years ago when we had presented together at a conference, and she was kind enough to come out and do one of our conferences when we had one in Birmingham a few years ago. And I love the product. It is peer reviewed. It is scientifically based. Like I said, focus on language and focus on reading for developmental disabilities. And there's a catalog of 150,000 different videos, discrete video models. And if you log on and if you take an exploration, those of you not familiar with it, then there's a 7-day free trial. But this is what Laura and I talked about. I reached out to Nicholas, her son, which is one of the executives in the company. And I also talked to Laura a couple times on what they could do to during this time, because they already have a format that works. It's already online, guys. It's already something that we make every attempt to push into schools. And the reason being, especially in our rural schools, because we just do not have the accessibility to the kind of therapy options that exist in the big cities. And Gemini fills that void, absolutely fills that void. The other thing that I like it for is when it comes to remedial or compensatory services for families. Yeah, you can have a speech language pathologist or a special education teacher working with your moderately to severely impacted kid, and that's fine. But what I love about Gemini is, guys, you can work on this 24 hours a day if you want to. Now, don't do that. Your kids need to sleep. But what I'm saying is that these videos, um, in the catalog and finding the ones that are applicable for your child, you can do this when you're riding in the car. You can download it and then you can play it offline. So this is a solution not only for our schools, but also for our practitioners who have their practices closed right now, and in families that are at home. That the big kicker out there is, how do we instruct and provide therapy options and make progress for our kids that are at risk of regression, that need to progress, that need this therapy? I think Gemini is a huge solution. So I'm proud, guys, that I reached out to Laura this past Friday, not Friday, yesterday. I'm talking about a week ago when we first found out that this was going to come down. And it took her over the weekend and Monday and Tuesday to figure this out. And then provide me the material. But I wanted to put a little bit of distance, a couple days, so that we could really highlight this in a way that is singularly different than some of the other things that we're putting out there as far as options for families. Gemini, there's 3 things that they've committed to do. Number one, for our public schools. And I've attached the links to the different explanations for our public schools. As long as the public school administrator agrees to submit or make submissions to Medicaid, which of course in the IDEA provisions it allows that. It does not ding the child's lifetime benefits, but as long as they submit to Medicaid for compensation, then let's say, for example, if Medicaid rejects it for whatever reason, Gemini is taking and absorbing the risk on that, meaning that no matter how you slice it, it's going to be provided to the schools during this time of the shutdown at no cost to the school, because Gemini is taking the risk if Medicaid does not pay. All right. That's huge. That's huge for a company this size to be willing to do that, to be that solution for public schools that do not know how they're going to be providing services to the unique student population that is a little bit more complicated with regards to how do we deliver specialized instruction to them. Like I said, my child is one of those children. And so Gemini is one of the solutions to be able to provide some specialized instruction and some language, through the Gemini systems. Okay. The other one is for private service providers that have their clinics closed, but also are interested in a system that continues to maintain that progress. This is also for parents who have, let's say, private insurance, to where you can ask your speech language path or your other professionals to submit to insurance your Gemini. And if it's not covered, then once again, Gemini is accepting the risk. So I've had two links, one for the school, one for your private providers, if you want to utilize your insurance. And then the third option that Gemini has is their scholarship program, which they've always had. But you get your 7-day free trial if you haven't been on Gemini before. But Laura has told me that they will not be, they'll be accepting all scholarship requests during this time. And the scholarship request takes the price of Gemini from $98 a month, which is what the normal price is, which is still a steal for the benefit you get out of it. But it takes that down under the scholarship, I believe, down to $29 a month. And that's huge, guys. That's $1 a day, less than $1 a day, in order to get 24-hour access to this library of videos that are tailored for kids with developmental disabilities. And like I said, we love it. We've been using it for years, but I also love to use it in my cases. I am so happy to make this announcement and let you guys know that. Please share with your special education directors. Share this letter with them. Encourage them that this is a solution to this issue of how do we provide services to our kids. Guys, we can fill the gaps with regards to the kids that don't have internet connection, because these videos can be downloaded and then provided in the form of, let's say, a Chromebook or an iPad. And most schools have those things now. But even there, if we identify kids that don't have those things, guys, we can get those things. We can be our own solution. We don't need to be sitting around waiting for government to finally figure this out. That's dangerous to do. Everybody needs to calm down. We can get through this. This isn't that big of a deal. It turns into a big deal if we don't come together and we don't provide our own solutions. Okay? The government will work this out. And whatever that is, I will keep you abreast to what's going on. And believe me, if it's something that's not good, I will fight that. Okay? And I've already put that information out. But in the meantime, we can be our own solution. And Gemini is a huge, huge, huge solution out there, guys. I thank the Casbar family for stepping up and doing this.